Greetings, Patrick here. 8 Questions with. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Wednesday. Yeah, and as much as it was beautiful yesterday, it is cloudy today. We're expecting to get some rain here. Glad you guys are here. Glad those who came out yesterday. Had a really fun chat with a film director, Austin Galante, about his new film, Sagwan Teeth on a Driftless Road, um, which is a sensational film, and I had a great discussion with him about it. And today we'll be talking with British actress Alina Desmond will be here with us, and she is one of the stars of the new film Piglet, which is uh, one of many films that the Brits have taken on. It seems like this has really rejuvenated their horror filmmaking. There seems to be a lot of people out there now making a lot of films based on the public domain characters, like Winnie the Pooh or Popeye or what have you. And so now we're seeing just a ton of movies coming out over here and from Great Britain that are showcasing that. Hey, Anthony, when are you going to get up to 212? Uh, yeah, it's to the Pistons. Um, yeah, so it's gonna be really cool to talk to her. Alina has done a few of these films. Not only has she done Piglet, she's done a Jack and Jill, and she also has done Blood and Honey, uh, which was a Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. She was in that as well. So it seems to me these type of movies are basically pumping fresh energy into the British horror scene right now, and I'm for it and I'm all about it. Um, they're fun to make, and Piglet is really good. Piglet for what it is, it's not bad. I'm all right with it. I think part of the big part I had to do with uh, um, our friend Alex, who played Piglet, and he threw himself into it. The rest of the actresses and actors in this movie, while they don't take the movie seriously, it is a tongue-in-cheek horror film, but they really give it a lot of good effort. And I was reading the IMDb, the reviews, and I don't know which movie they were watching because they weren't watching the same one I was. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Um, I think if anything, they might be spending. We're going to find out how many days it took for them to shoot the film. That's probably the only thing I would sit there and say that's probably hurting them. I mean, the first Winnie the Pooh came out, and it was just so they just could not wait to put it out there on the shelves. And in doing so, they brought on a lot of criticism because the movie looked like shit. Now, but they learned from that. Now, the second Winnie the Pooh movie has come out, and it got a lot better reviews, a ton better reviews, because they had some money and they had some time to take a deep breath and spend a little coin and making it look a lot better. I've always been I'm always one. I'm always a film fan that I rather see a director take his time, he or she take their time to do their movies right, even if it takes a little bit longer. I'm much more of that than I am those who are doing like a 4 day turnaround. If you do a 4 day turnaround or 5 day turnaround, it's gonna be several mistakes left on the playing field, and everybody's gonna see it. So yeah. So Alita will be here shortly. Uh, right before we went up, me and the cheetah, we caught the trailer. We caught the trailer for the new Now You See Me movie. So Now You See Me, Now You Don't. That's going to be coming out in summer. It looks awesome. It looks great. Um, all the original Four Horsemen are back, all original. Um, they have Morgan Freeman's back. I'm not sure about Mark Ruffalo. They didn't show him in the previews, and they picked out none other than Rosamund Pike to be the villainess. Man, she makes evil look good, look really good. She always has, right? Uh, I mean, start from Miranda Frost from from the James Bond series, and but she's also a great good girl too. She's of course she was in that movie Gone Girl where she played a villainess as well. But she also plays Moraine in Wheels of Time. So I love Rosamund Pike. I think she's a sensational actress. And my favorite Rosamund Pike movie probably would be Return to Sender. That's a banger. That's a good one. Um, so, all right. Good news is that some of you might have found out that I got to go back to the library yesterday. So we went to the library. We picked up 15 new movie or eight. Yeah, we picked up 15 new movies we picked up yesterday. And wow, that's I haven't had a haul like that in a very, very long time. And ironically, uh, normally when I pull a haul like that, it's always going to be based on donations. But no, the library is calling out they're calling out now that they did their TV series. Now they're doing some of the older movies that they had, so they're calling them out too. So I'm sure for the next couple of weeks we're going to be getting a lot of library books or a lot of library films. So me and the Cheetah, we already got one lined up to watch for Friday night for Dollar Theater. So uh, tomorrow night we will be here at 8:30. 8:30 will be our special start time. Uh, um, I better make sure I put my I put my our get let's see. Okay. What's really strange about this interview here is I'm interviewing an English actress. Um, I'm interviewing an English actress, and but she's in Canada right now shooting a film. So we actually got her at our regular time. She's in Vancouver, which is on the west coast of Canada, in BC. So she wasn't quite sure if what time she's like, what time it is. It is 3 hours ahead of time. So she'll be on California time, so to speak. So I'm just letting her know that she can come up in about 10 minutes or so. Yeah, because most of the time I would be interviewing her 8 o'clock over in Great Britain, which is 3 p.m. here in the United States. It's 5 hours. That's a 5 hour time, or maybe right now it could be even 6 hours. Uh, but now she's working, so she's here on the continent, and so it's a little bit different because most of the English actors they're always daytime. They're always daytime interviews. And speaking of daytime interviews, I caught Gareth from Video Tasties. He had legendary actor Brian Thompson on his show today. I got to go over there and take a peek at that for about 20-25 minutes. And wow, that was a good that was a good show. Brian Thompson is a very well known character actor who he's played a ton of bad guys, but he's played some good guys too. And my fact, my favorite performance of Brian. Well, he did play a bad guy in Doctor Mordred, which I absolutely adored. I guess I love that movie so much. It's so much fun. Um, but he played in Miracle Mile. He played a man who during the eve of a nuclear war, he's going to try to get some people out and the safety. And he tells he tells Anthony Edwards that he can fly. He's gonna come back for him, but he says I just want to make sure that if I take you to safety, that my companion can go with me. And he goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he turns around and it's a man. And he goes, is there any problem with that? And he goes, no, not at all. It was just it was a sweet moment. It's a great movie. Miracle Miles, definitely one of my top 100 movies ever. Um, Fantastic film, and the ending is unforgettable. Unforgettable ending. I mean, it's an unforgettable film, but that ending is really something else. And I thought Brian did a great job in that movie. And now, though, I do wish though that I did have TV, so to speak, because I guess he's been recurring on 9/11, which just wrapped up its series. Oh my God, TV's so weird now. I don't even know how I keep up with it. I don't know how anybody keeps up with it. So they had a show called 911 that ran for like 8 years. I think it ran for like the first 5 years it ran on Fox. Then they dumped it and ABC picked it up for 2 years. And so they got 7 years out of it, or 8 years out of it. And then they decided that they're going to cancel it. They're going to cancel the show. And then they're going to do another one. They're going to do another one based in Nashville. They're going to start it all over again. And I'm just like, well, th- okay, so I mean, are we doing it because it's fresh geography? Um, the rescues are going to be different, I guess. Like I just couldn't understand why they would have to feel like they need to cancel a series in order to start a new one. Why couldn't they keep both of them going? It seems to be the big rage now here in Spinoff City. There's so many spinoffs. Oh Lord, have mercy. Um, I mean, they're just they're trying to. It's very rare now to get an original series. Um, I saw they pushed back one series called Einstein. They pushed it back, and I think they did that because that way they wouldn't have to compete with Watson, which is yet another take of Sherlock Holmes that I believe it's airing on CBS. And CBS just got done doing a series not that long ago called Elementary, which featured Watson and Sherlock Holmes. All right, the doorbell has been rung, so it is time to bring our guest onto the show. Those who are here, thank you for coming in, and we're looking forward to this one. All right, here we go. Hello.
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. It's really neat, Alina, is the fact that I actually get to talk to you on our time. Most of the time when I interview the Brits for their films and for themselves, they're in Great Britain. I think you're like 5 hours ahead of us. So and I'm always going up to interview you guys at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
so it's really different to be able to come and talk to you. Now it's the opposite. It's like, well, first you're 5 hours ahead of me. Now you're 3 hours behind me. So, um, well, what can I say? I gotta say this right off the bat, but congratulations on Piglet.
Thank you.
Um, I've been watching for the last year. It's been very, very fun to watch all the fun creature feature movies coming out of there. Ever since
Hmm.
uh, Jack and Jill, you got Jack and Jill, you got Hook, you got you got Winnie the Pooh. I mean, it's all these type of movies of creatures that are coming into the public domain, into the public where anybody can make a movie out of it. It seems to be really rejuvenating the English horror scene, the British horror community. Um, are you? I guess you're proof of that because you've been nonstop working now for a couple of years. I mean, you're really busy.
Yeah, no, I'm super grateful. I moved over. I've been back and forth to the UK my whole life, but I decided to move back to the UK. I was going to pursue a master's in acting, but unfortunately my visa didn't come through in time. So I actually ended up applying, and I was like, Winnie the Pooh, like I've heard of this. I've heard of these guys. I've heard of these guys. I had heard of them, but and I so badly wanted to be a part of it. But like, and being in Canada, like we Vancouver, we have a lot of stuff shot here, but nothing like as cool as like the indie scene goes, or like, I haven't got to work on like any of those like Disney-esque killer characters type of stuff here. So I was super grateful to like audition and come on board when I moved to the UK and like be a part of that universe, because it's like I feel like it is a lot of fun, and instead of paying like a whole bunch of money to do a master's in acting, which is great and all, I was like, I'm just going to do this and experience this and get like firsthand experience on set, and like in terms of movement, in terms of all the stuff like that, I do feel like I got to learn all of that on set.
Um, now, so are you a Canadian citizen or do you have dual citizenship? You're Canadian and you have British citizenship.
So, I have a visa. So I should have a British citizenship, but my parents, because they moved me over to Canada when I was like 10, I just ended up getting the Canadian passport. But because I have British family members, and yeah, so I'm entitled to work in Britain as well. So technically dual.
So that's really so. And and so you decided to base yourself in Great Britain. But what's it like compared, filming both in Great Britain and Canada? What are some of the differences that you've noticed right off the bat?
I think in England, the caliber of acting, I do feel like it is a lot more cutthroat. Whereas like I feel like in Canada, people like won't be as direct as they are in the UK per se. But also the like sense of humor is quite different as well. But yeah, I've had positive experiences working in both countries. More so, I worked on bigger productions in the UK, but I get auditioned for huge projects that film in Vancouver. So it's like I've done a lot of indie stuff out there, but I get seen for a lot of bigger projects here.
If I'm not mistaken, and everybody knows this, this is gonna have to come up once we mention, once you mention Vancouver and you're working out of there, and you just know this had to come up, and yes, we're gonna go there. But so have you applied for any like Hallmark movies? Some of the more friendlier family movies.
Yes, yes, yes. I get sent out for Hallmark. I get sent out for Hallmark. I'm more of a Lifetime girly. That's more like I would love to be on Lifetime, but
You rather be running from the killer than going in for the two kiss maximum on a Hallmark movie. I get it. Those Lifetime movies are a hoot.
I know. I'm like, whenever I get them, they want it. I don't know if I can say what I auditioned for, but basically they sent me over the audition and I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't think they're gonna say yes, like to me doing a Hallmark film. Like if they look me up, like, are you sure? And another
Ah,
big
you know what? You know what? Let me ride to your rescue here. Let me tell you, there are a lot of horror legends that are doing Hallmark movies, both
true,
both
true.
both act, both acting and directing. There's a lot of horror pedigree in Hallmark. Let me tell you, people sleep on that. They think the Hallmark. They start laughing. But I said, well, you go look at some of the people that have been in those movies, and then come talk to me, because
Hmm.
there's people in there that done several classic horror films that are now doing Hallmark movies. Hey,
Yeah.
Mr. Dayton Horror, how are you? How are you? And Alina, how are you? How is it, Alina or Elena? Is it Alina?
It's
You,
Alina, but you can call me
mhm.
whatever.
You can call me anything you want, but just don't call me late for dinner. Um, so yeah, so you know what? I can see you being more of a Lifetime girl though too. You got the femme fatale look about you. You know,
Thank you. Thank you.
but at the
I mean,
same
I'm
time
not gonna
though,
go. I'm not
but
gonna say no to anything.
yeah, but at the same time, Kate was really sweet too. And Kate can bring the noise. Yeah, I was sitting there watching Kate taking care of business in Piglet. I'm like, man, that girl, she's got some swing on her.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch. You know, and what I really liked about it was you got to hit more than once. It drives me crazy. I think it drives all horror fans crazy. Is when the final girl is stuck with the killer, and she has like the axe or the knife or whatever, and after watching him put like 30 licks to everybody else, the final girl hits the guy once. He falls down, and she goes, "Okay, that's it." No, I really appreciate the fact that you said, "No, I'm gonna give this guy a beating. He deserves it, and I'm dealing it." But we're gonna get to that in a little bit. Because I want to go into depth in that, and along with your, I want to talk about your scene partner as well. Let me go to yeah, okay, yeah, so that's right. Tom Baker says, well, Patrick, most famous American actors and actresses start in the Roger Corman horror movies. And those were really known to be really cheap movies that are just made really fast on the cheap. But yes, Roger Corman developed a lot of stars. He discovered a lot of stars and put them in his movies. And Hallmark is that way too. Hallmark, they are a machine, and they have a really good eye on spotting talent. I mean, they're always looking for fresh faces. So the movie master, hey, welcome in, movie master. Let's see. Also, she big fan of yours. Thanks for the work that you do. That's awesome. So you have fans here. I appreciate that. Um, so how did you get your first, how did you get your start in acting? I mean, were you here in Canada or in Great Britain? And what led you down the road to becoming an actress?
When I actually started when I was when I was quite young, like when I was like 7, 8, I started doing like school plays and stuff like that. And when my parents moved me over from the UK to Canada, like we were going through like a lot of troubles and I was like failing at school, but I would always like get all of the leads in the school plays and like it motivated me and and it just I knew that I was good at something and it helped me like escape. So it was like a form of escapism from like, the realities of like what I was dealing with at home. And when I was like 18, 19, I applied to go to UCLA. So I went over there and I did a program there on acting. I had to move back, of course, back to Vancouver, and I got signed with an agency and I was doing it here and there. But I decided to fully give it a go. But then unfortunately the pandemic happened and it was no longer in-person auditions and it was all self-tape, self-tape, self-tape. And we came to the world of like TikTokers and big names and I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who works hard, but I just felt like I was never going to get seen as an actor because you're just like in a box. You're just like this small tiny like and you never get a response. Like even I would go for like the biggest, and you're like, is anybody? I was starting to go crazy, so I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta do something. So I just got inspired, yeah, to go to the UK, and the masters thing didn't work out, but joining the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Two gang, that ended up being an amazing thing, and I love B movies. Like I grew up on like I've seen all of the Sharknadoes. I've seen Piranha 3 Double D. Like I've seen it. Like I was like in love with Eli Roth. Like I would definitely love to work with him. Like yeah, I've always been into like this type of genre as well. So it makes me happy that like I'll get to go down in this type of genre. It'll be I'll be known for something.
Now, did you say that you love the genre? What are some of the what are some of the actors or some of the horror movies that you liked when you were growing up?
When I
I
was
mean,
growing up. So I really loved the actress. Emily Browning. She was in Lemony Snicket's, the one with Jim Carrey. I also really love Mia Goth. Like she's somebody that definitely like she kills it every single time, pun intended. I do like I really vibe with like the strong female character. Like I love um girls that are just creepy. Like I love a good creepy gothicy type of character and like type of girl. Like I really am drawn to that, and I feel like I'm so like ecstatic that I like get to kind of be a part of that genre too.
what attracts you to the dark side? I mean, most actresses they're hoping to play that glamorous lead role, but you seem to really like the dark role. What attracts you to that? I mean, is that what you're looking for? If you get like 10 scripts and five are dark and five are light, are you going to read them all, or are you just going to read the dark side?
I'm happy to read anything. I'm happy to explore it in like any type of role that I'm given into. But I do generally prefer like weirder aesthetic, type of roles and characters. And the more maniacal, the more crazy, the more, the character development I get to have. Like, I think the more fun it is for me. But, you know, whatever I would love to do, like, a very like leading type of like more softer role too one day. Like I don't know, like I would love to do that as well. Like that would be definitely a challenge because I'd be like, I don't have to scream, I don't have to be maniacal. Like what is this?
Yeah, because like I said, you played a great final girl. I mean, you didn't even there's girls that that just you just they have that aura around them. I'm not sure if it's in the casting and the auditioning or whatever, but when they've most of the horror movies when they do find their final girl, it's pretty much spot on. It's like nah, she didn't work out. Like I think the only time I ever saw a girl, final girl in a horror film, I'm going like, I'm not feeling that at all. But it wasn't her fault. It was the way the plot was, the way the script was in the remake of Friday the 13th. But
Mhm.
otherwise, yeah, because the sister got kidnapped, and
Yeah.
at the very last minute, she escapes, and Danielle Panabaker's character, who's been there the whole movie, she dies, and I was like, yeah, that's not right. It should,
Mhm.
um, but it does take a certain aura, a certain kind of personality to play a final girl and to carry it off. I mean, you could stick anybody in there, but it doesn't, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You should really try to work hard on getting a final girl that's believable. That's what I mean. I was really blown away by your performance in Piglet. It was really good. It was strong, and I like that. I like a good strong character, a female character. Um, let's see. Tom is here, and he says, Patrick, Alina reminds me a lot of horror actress Barbara Steele. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Barbara Steele. She was
Stop. I'm gonna Google. Oh my gosh. Barbara Steele.
yeah. Do you know who she? Have you seen her work before?
No, I'm Googling. I'm Googling. Maybe I
Oh,
have.
oh, yeah.
One sec,
Oh,
one
God,
sec, one sec, one sec.
She was a legend.
Oh
Um,
wow. No, I
yeah,
should. I like her look. You know what? I'm gonna have to watch some of that stuff.
yeah.
Ooh.
There was two from there was Barbara Steele, and then there was another one named Ingrid Pitt.
Okay.
Very huge, very big in the '60s. Very, very well known in the '60s. Hammer films. Um, okay, so now you're 18 or 19, and you're gonna throw your weight into it. So, what was your first film? Or what was your first film that you worked on that you were on set for?
So the first one that I booked, I actually booked out here, and it was called Zareen. It was an independent film. Unfortunately, it never made it out, but that's okay. I got to work with a lovely child actress, and it was fun. Like it was an amazing shoot. We had horses and everything like that, so it was a big budget shoot, but it never came out. And then the second one was like I think it was called The Chant of July, and it was just another indie film in the UK. And then I started applying to the Winnie the Pooh 2 and stuff like that, and I booked them. So yeah,
I was gonna ask you, how long did it take to shoot the Winnie the Pooh movie? How many days did it take for them for you to shoot that?
the second one, I think it was like I think we did like we filmed. I know it was over 3 months, and then they took like a couple week break, and then they went back to reshooting as well. So it was fun because I got to be like on the first week I was there, and then I came back like 2 months later, which is when we were filming the rave scenes. And it was funny because like um when I first got there, it was the first week of shooting, and everyone was like, because there was a huge budget in comparison to the first one, so everyone was like, "Woohoo!" Like, we got this. And I get back there like 2 months later, everyone's exhausted and like, "We got this,
Yeah.
we got this."
Yeah, I commented on that before you got here about how, once the public domain thing went out there, everybody's at the starting line. And it's like as soon as it said, okay, you could go ahead and make your movie with these characters, I mean, it was a race to see how fast anybody could get anything out. And the guy who did the first Winnie the Pooh, I think his movie was out. I mean, it was ready to go. And as soon as they said, okay, I think he was already selling it or at least playing it at the cinema. But you're right. I mean, it didn't. I mean, yes, it came out, but people really just like they weren't impressed with it because it looked like it got made in a day and a half. But the second one, that's what I heard. I mean, the second one is light years ahead of better than the first one, and everybody has says so. I read I read the critics and other horror fans, and they said that compared to the first one, the second one is so much better. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was really curious to see how long it took for you guys to film that to turn it around because I don't know about you. I mean, how do you feel about shooting on like a 5 day schedule? Like, okay, we're gonna shoot this movie in 5 days. Does that inspire you as an actress when you hear that going like, we're gonna make a movie in 5 days? Does that inspire you like like as far as yeah, we could do it, or like, oh, this is gonna be a train wreck?
I mean, I think because I'm so dedicated to the craft, and like I really want to put my best foot out there. I do think that a lot of us actors are quite motivated to do a good job and to like, we have such good camaraderie. But I think obviously people get tired, and but it's like that in the bigger budget ones too, because for example,
Yeah.
I got Seen for a Lifetime, and it had huge names on it, and like I had this huge audition, 3 pages. I had 1 day turnaround, and it was going to film next week. And it was like something like an 80-page script. So, like, it happens in like a bigger budget set as well. It's called like MOW's Movie of the Weeks, I believe is the terminology for them. And even though like they do get more time, like to film, it is very fast paced. So, yeah, it is really hard. Like, and you do get your heart broken a lot because you're like, I wish I could just go again. I wish I could just do that one more time. But there's no time. Like you basically have to get on and hit your mark, or else it gets cut, and you don't. And that's the unfortunate part of it. So you really have to come like prepared and bring your best foot forward if you want to look semi okay.
So your first movie came out, had some money behind it, but were you surprised? Did you know that part about the movie making business, that sometimes a movie will it could get made, or and not it might not be able to see the light of day. It could be like 70, they might get 75% of it filmed, but then they run out of money and the movie doesn't get released. Were you aware of that when you were when you started in the business? Like that was part of the risk, that maybe the movie that you're spending your time on, you've invested in it, it might not make it because a lack of budget or some other outside force.
Like I never thought like I would be the one like to experience stuff like that. But evidently I did end up experiencing stuff like that. And it is heartbreaking, and you really like always you're professional, you show up, you do the work, and it's just sad when other people like may not have that in mind.
Yeah, I mean it's let me go over here. Let me see this. Movie Master says the second film was better, but he actually liked the first one. It's like you like the first one for the idea of the idea, the idea of Winnie the Pooh. But I would like to go. I would always like the second one, because there, like I said, there's more time, there's more, and you don't feel rushed. I mean, sometimes I'll read people writing critics, and a lot of them will comment on the acting. They'll make comments about the acting. Well, the acting's nothing special, or seems to be undercooked, or what, negative. And it's like, wow, I wonder what they would say if they found out a lot of times these movies are made on a 10 to 12 day turnaround. It's like you don't have time, like you said, you don't have time to rehearse, or to, I can't even imagine what that would be like, to turn right around, read, and turn around and go back and be expected to do an 80-page script the next week. I don't even know. I don't even want to even think about the pressure that you were under for that. Um, but I mean, it's especially when you're just starting out. I mean, hell, even a veteran. I mean, even a veteran actor who's been in the business for a while, they still would be rather daunted if you give me a 80 or 90-page script and give them like 3 or 4 days. They would be sitting there, be a little bit like, that's a hell of a lot of pages. Um,
Yeah.
so asking a young actress such as yourself, a young talent such as yourself, to do it, and you're able to pull it off, hats off to you.
Thank you.
Uh, I wanted to ask you another question in relation to your first film. Um, where were your parents at during this time? Were they throwing their support behind you 100%? Or they, this is something that, they saw that you wanted to do, and they wanted to back your play?
Absolutely not. I come from a very conservative Middle Eastern background, so they were like, "You're being a doctor. Like, what is it? Like, what?" Still to this day, like, I will tell my mom, like, "Hey, like, my movie came out in cinemas. Like, hey, like, I'm doing all of this," and like, she's like, "Oh, that's good." Like, she doesn't like it. She can't grasp it. Bless her. But no, she they're I grew up in a very strict household, and they were okay with me doing plays and stuff like that, but they were like, come on, like film and TV, like it's never gonna happen, like it's like a dime and a dozen. So like I had to like fight from like and beg to like do that. And yeah, and so I didn't have the support at home. But now I think they're like, it's good that I'm doing this, because it's like the other thing was like being depressed at home, not doing anything. So they're like, okay, this is better. At least she's doing something, you know?
Well, let me say this, Mr. and Mrs. Desmond. Your daughter is doing very, very well, and you should be very proud of her. And let me tell you, she pounded out a 300-pound guy and beat the poo out of him. The, and you should be very proud. You should be very proud of that. I think it's awesome. I do. I do. I think Kate is a badass. Um, uh, Hey, Chance, how are you? Chance is here. Let's see, and Stephen Sheets is here. Thank you so much. That's right, Stephen. She was in Piglet. That's right, among others. Sometimes it's the details that makes it a hit. It's all who's in the driver's seat. Yeah, let's talk about let's go on a little bit. Let's go on a little bit more of your career because I do want to talk about your director in Piglet. Now, here you go. I see. You did the Chant in July, and then you did probably your first film that started doing with the fantasy aspect of it, and you did Jack and Jill 3. So, um, well, the Chant in July was probably your first film that you were on set. I mean, that got seen, right?
I mean, it never got seen. I
Oh God!
technically,
Oh,
what happened, like, the guy ended up, he uploaded it and nobody watched it. But because I started coming onto these bigger piglets, these fairest of them all, playing Alice, and because ended up doing so many of these things, I actually got like the film to get viewed. But like it was a very low budget film as well. It was one guy doing, the recording of the film. He wrote the script, and he did everything himself. But it was great fun to experience, and it helps me, grow in my feel. Like, to like be a lead in anything, like is someone saying like, hey, I think you're good at this. I want you to be on my set. So I was grateful to be a part of that, even though like it didn't really get seen by that many people. But yeah, just no, but there was no budget there. So that's the
right.
unfortunate part of these low budget shoots.
So you go ahead and now you go to Jack and Jill. Now, did Jack and Jill get out there in the public eye?
Let me think. I don't think so. No.
Yeah. So you got that, but it happens. Then you worked up on hard copy. Well, somebody saw these movies because they have ratings on them. So
Oh
they did
God.
get released. Yeah, they did get released to the public, of course, according to IMDb. Um, oh, don't worry about that. If a good horror film, the lower the ratings are, the lower like the ratings, the better the movie is. It always is the case. The more independent a horror film is, more likely it's always going to be it's going to be better. It's when you get out a major studio film, somebody like an A24, and they wouldn't know a hole, they wouldn't know a hole in the ground from real horror from independent horror. Um, for the most part. Okay. So what was the first movie that you did that got released to the public that you were able to show your friends and your family? Look, I'm in this movie. What was your first what was your first project?
I think, yeah, so it was the chant of July. It just got like very low views. So it just got uploaded. I think the guy got it on Prime and Tubi, so that was uploaded there.
Okay.
And then we did Shockwaves 2, which was that was a disaster film. And I think that got released on Prime. Then I started booking the Jack and Jill 3. Then after that, I got to be in, what was it? Oh God, now I'm not even remembering. But
Hard copy. Hard copy came after Jack
some
and Jill. No.
yeah, something like that. And then was like Winnie 2, and then I got Piglet, and then I got Fairest of Them All, where I got to play Alice.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite, like, I loved being in Piglet and Fairest of Them All, like portraying Alice in Wonderland. I think that was such a special opportunity. And it was really fun to play in that opposite a really good cast and crew.
Now, what was it like? What was it like? Did you know? Was it hard for you to, when did you have to audition for the for Piglet? I mean, how did you get to meet Alex? Did you get to meet Alex before you started shooting? What was your first impression of being on set on for that one and meeting your castmates? Because that's a pretty big cast you got there in Piglet. There's a lot of actors in that one, and that's what I mean. And what was it like? What was it like meeting some of your castmates?
Yeah, I mean, he was amazing to work with. He was great as Piglet. He, bless him, he has to wear that like big mask and suit and everything like that. And he's just the friendliest guy ever. So it was really hard to be scared of him because I'm like, I know that there's just such a nice guy under there. It really was acting because he's such a sweet, like, sweetheart. And anybody that has to wear that mask, well, I don't know how they got it on their head. Like I could never. Like my hair is too thick. It's too frizzy. I don't know how they did that. But it was also amazing to like meet the other girls and and stuff like that. And the location was beautiful. Um, and yeah, I didn't have to audition actually. The producer saw my previous work in like Jack and Jill 3 and all those lower budget ones, and he obviously was happy with my performances there. And you know I I I I love being a part of that scene, so he offered me the lead role, and I was like, of course. At first, I was like, the lead role. Do you mean you want me to be Piglet? Like and he was like, no, you're Kate. So yeah.
Uh, you mentioned something that we have. I was talking with a filmmaker yesterday, and we've been talking. It seems like this week all of a sudden this came out of nowhere, and you just mentioned again tonight. When I asked you what was it like, between Canada and Great Britain, and you mentioned in Great Britain it's rather cutthroat. Now cutthroat can be many different things, but it was cutthroat like if there's like, did you mean like if there's one role, there's like 10 people willing to do whatever to get it? It's just a lot of people looking for that one role, or is that what you meant about being cutthroat? A lot of people auditioning for one or two roles, and working hard to get it, or did you mean like people trying to like maybe sabotage you a little bit? Have you ever experienced that?
I think being a bit naive, you can go in and think that everybody's your best friend on sets, but things can definitely get like twisted, and it is a professional setting after all. And I think it can get when it comes down to it, it can be like a lot of fingers can be pointed like in different places, and I feel like that can happen in every workplace. Well, it's not like a friend, like as amazing everyone is to work with, fingers can get pointed and people don't want to take the blame. Like, let's say if a scene doesn't end up like the way it is, like it is very much the blame game. So you do want to just like be professional, just like with every work setting, and make sure you're there, you work your hardest, work your best. And in terms of it being cutthroat, I do find out in the UK, it is very much about, oh, what drama school did you go to? Oh, how many followers do you have? And it is like this in Vancouver as well, but I do recall I got seen for a lot like bigger roles out here with like no IMDb credits compared to like now when I have like loads, like it people like they value different stuff out here, I think, in terms of like um acting.
Well, you notice though is the projects, like I said, look at I think Tom mentioned here. Let's see. Someone else someone said something here about this. See, the movie master, independent horror is where it's at for me. I feel that low budget films need to be recognized more. The creative aspect is there, even if the acting isn't on par with the big budget films. And that's what I mean. I mean, I don't look. I mean, I don't go to IMDb. I don't let that or Rotten Tomatoes dictate. And I think pretty much. Let me just put this to the chat. Um, if a horror movie comes out on if you're scanning IMDb and you see a horror movie and it has a rating of 3 or below, does that make you want to see the movie more or make it see less? Me, it's always more for me. If I see a movie with a 2.5 or 2.7, I'm so there. I'm all in. Except for maybe I mean, I watch so many low budget films. I love them. And I also know too that the rankings are people who just don't understand it. They don't understand, they don't understand how much blood, sweat, and tears and no budget it takes to put out a good horror film. Um, Tom says he never looks at IMDb. Uh, Larry here. How about this? Very hard to trust Rotten Tomatoes. I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes at all.
No,
Uh,
neither do I. I think it's all bought.
there is our friend Mike over there in Japan, hanging out with Guy Gan. That's right. Give shouting out to Guy Gan. Hey Mike, how are you? Hey Patrick and Elena, all the way from Japan. He's on his honeymoon and sharing a pizza with Guy Gan. All right, I love it. Only for bios. Uh, and yeah, cat and crew. See, that's what I'm saying. I could tell you could tell these are horror fans right here because they're not paying attention to the rankings. They're just seeing who's in the movie. They're seeing the cast and crew. Who's that's the love of the craft. That's the love of the genre. Um,
Hmm.
so, um, let's see. But yeah, but the other part about it, I did not know that. I did not know. Like someone walking up to you and walking up and saying, "What school did you go to?" I was like, well, what does it really matter what school I'm going to? I'm sitting here on the same set with you, you know?
Hmm.
It's like I might not have been to the Royal Academy, but yet you and I are still standing on the same set.
Hmm.
So I hope it's that's a little something to learn. Um so how do you prepare for your character? Let's talk about Kate, since Kate is in Piglet. So you got the role of Kate, and how much time did you have to prepare Kate? How much did you have? What did you do to make her character come to life?
Yeah, so I basically I was like, okay, well, I did a lot of research, so I did me B movies, watched a lot of that, and I was like, oh, taking a part of all of the final girls and seeing like what I could bring out of each of my favorite final girl to Piglet. And I think I definitely wanted to emulate some of Mia Goth's energy. I'm a big lover of hers, as well as I don't. Now I'm like blanking. I'm like just Mia Goth, but yeah, like I said, Emily Browning. She was the creepy girl in Ghost Ship. That was a really good character. I really liked that. And I basically watched, Rob Zombie's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm a big fan of Rob Zombie, and I prepared that way, and in your head, it's always a lot different than when you're on set and you meet your cast and the dynamic and all of that. It really comes together. But I tried to research in watching B movies, I suppose. But yeah.
Are you talking about the Emily Downing? Are you talking about the one from Ghost Ship from 2000?
Hmm.
Oh my god! I thought I was going like I've heard that name before. Yeah, with the infamous opening scene, the little
Hmm.
girl. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Is she still acting?
Yeah, yeah, I think she is. She's like she does. She's one of these actresses that like I think she's just. I follow everything that she does, and she has kind of like taken the darker roles and the darker genre. I think, but she is working and she is putting good stuff out there. But she is like one, and she was in Sucker Punch. I think Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch that came out like quite some time ago as well. But she's definitely one of the creepy girls that I aspire to be like. Yeah.
One of my favorites is in that movie too. Gentleman Alone.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's
I love
amazing.
Jenna's the queen. She's so badass.
Yeah,
Love
she's amazing. And in the Hunger Games, I feel like she just stole. She's the one of the scene stealer.
yeah.
The scene stealer.
He just absolutely stole Catching Fire. It's just she
Mhm.
was so badass on that. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Yeah. All right. And Ghost Ship, man, I love Ghost Ship. Ghost Ship is, I mean, yeah. Oh, let's see. There's some people here sharing some let's see. Steven's got a question. Says at the in the final fight of the film, Christopher uses an axe and kills Winnie the Pooh. Did that happen? I guess that must have been in the second movie. Oh, Christopher, Christopher. Okay, so this is my pet. Is the final fight of the film? I guess Christopher Robin, and I guess he's fighting Winnie the Pooh. God, this is this is awesome. And he takes uses an axe and kills Winnie the Pooh. Did that happen? Did that happen? Did that happen in the second movie? Uh, I don't know. I have not seen the first two of those movies, Stephen. To be honest with you, I saw Piglet, and I loved it. I think it's fun, and I love the. What makes up a good final girl for you, Alina? I mean, what makes a good final girl as far as you wanting to play it? What are some of the attributes and qualities that you look for in a character like that?
Is she able to convince her audience of her survival? And can we see on screen like for example, Kate's just had her whole life like emptied out. Like she's watched friend after friend after friend die, and it's like, is the rage there? Like when she gets that kill, like is the memory of all of her friends there? So I do feel like when we can connect with a character and really see them almost take over as the killer is
Yeah,
what makes a good final girl.
sort of like Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th.
Mm, yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Um, you're absolutely right. Well, did you tell your director um from the movie? Did you tell him, or was it in the script for you to hit Piglet more than one time, or was that your decision?
Um, so in the script, it was completely different. So we changed, like the director changed everything at first. So when you see me run him over and him hit the tree, that was actually supposed to be how the film ended. But because the distributors really loved the film, they were like, we need something more. We need something more. They actually flew me back because Piglet was supposed to be released in cinemas originally. Unfortunately, it didn't end up becoming that way, but that's all right. It still is amazing. I got to fly back, and the director just said go for it, like just go for it. And I went for it, and I climbed on top of Piglet, and I got to climb out of a like burning car as well. Like that was fun, that was crazy. We lit a car on fire, like that was amazing. But yeah, no, the director was like, okay, go. And I was like, and then he'd yell cut, and I would sort of look up and be like, is this too much? Like, and he's like, no, this is
No.
great. And so I just made it up as it was. I think I was so tired that I was just like, I'm just gonna go for it until I pass out or someone else cut.
Where was Hey Frog? Let's see. Chance has a question. Alina, what was one of the most difficult scenes in the shoot? What was your how about this? What was your most difficult scene to shoot in your so far in your career? What's the one scene or the one that you had the most that was most difficult?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so it was in Fairest of them all. You guys are gonna die. So I'm comfortable with like blood being splattered on me. I'm fine with being like grabbed, thrown around. I like it. I'm all up for it. But in Fairest of them all, Lewis, who played the Mad Hatter, had to he was pretending to do have sex. Um, and it was just so funny. Like the scene was just so hilarious that I couldn't stop laughing. And this is like my capture. It's like a quite a dark, maniacal scene, but I just couldn't get over how like hilarious it was. So I think it's like when there is a comedic, like when there's comedy, it's actually the most challenging for me because you have to try not to laugh and be like serious.
Did that happen? Did that happen a lot does that happen a lot on your shoots? I would think that I would think that the giggles do happen the later it gets during the day. You know, the longer the day goes, I think more people start cracking up a little bit more because they're tired. Um, how do you avoid that you yourself? I mean, have you ever done a scene of like a heavy dramatic scene, and then you just get the laughs, you get the giggles, and have to has that happened to you yet?
No, just like I'm actually like quite I'm very serious with stuff like that, but it like on the set of Fairest of Them All, I couldn't help it because it was Lewis is too good, and he did make me burst out laughing multiple times because he was playing this maniacal Mad Hatter type of character, and I just it was so campy and out there that I couldn't like help but giggle a couple of times. But yeah. And oh, and when I was acting with my co-star Shaylee, I think at one point she gets shot in the leg in Piglet and ends up landing on me, but we obviously ended up like landing in the scissoring position. So that was like when you end up in like inappropriate positions, like when you're like falling, I think is also hilarious. So, like any like, innuendo and stuff like that. I always like I'm a big giggler when that happens.
Let me see if they have some questions here. 'Cause this is a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on tonight. This is a hoot. This is funny. This is fun. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So, okay. So now we'll go back to let's talk a little bit about Fairest of them all. Now, and this now having you're starting to do it with these all these fairy tales movies. Are you a little bit concerned that you're going to get stuck doing those a lot more than you want to? I mean, you don't want to get stereotyped into, like, oh, for every time there's a public domain movie, they're going to call you up. What are some of the other type of movies, other genres that where we know you want to be a Lifetime girl, and we're all for that. But what other genres do you want to do that you think that like as far as acting challenges go? What are you looking to play? I mean, if you got a chance to act like a cop or a villain or whatever.
Oh, you got
What are
it.
you
You
looking?
got it. You got it. You got it. I'm actually auditioning for like a pretty big TV show right now. I don't know if I can even say it, but yeah, it is for a cop role. But I
Okay,
don't know, I
cool.
just said it. I hope the casting director isn't watching this actively, but probably he isn't. But yeah, it's a cop role. But yeah,
Um,
fingers crossed. I hope I get it.
I hope you get it too. I hope you get it too. Uh, that would be well. We can't talk about it. We generally don't talk about it we don't talk about Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club: we don't talk about Fight Club. Um, so, is that something you're ready to play? I mean, are you ready to play a little bit more of a modern girl? I mean, even though Piglet is modern, but it's still set in a fairy tale world. The character like Piglet. Are you ready to branch out? And are you going to go back to do plays as well, or are you just going to concentrate just solely on TV and film?
I think that I do want to navigate myself and work locally in, the Vancouver scene. I do want to jump on, like, I'm happy to do that type of stuff, but I really want to start working as like a Vancouver local and do more of like the Lifetimes, the Hallmarks, the HBOs. Like, I'm happy to like take that on. I do feel like I have done my fair share of Final Girl stuff, but I would, but if Eli Roth calls me and is like, "Hey, be in my film," I'm not going to say no. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say no.
Uh, well, is there any roles that will avoid? Like, like, okay, I'll do anything, but I won't do that. Is there any roles that you would turn down if they, if they got to you? I mean, they asked you to do it, like, they if extremely graphic, violence or whatnot. Is there limitations on what you'll play or not play?
No, I think I'll do everything. I think I no, I think I'm happy to do
Yeah,
everything. Like,
yeah. I-
yeah,
I'm not
I'm
surprised you said
happy.
that. I'm not surprised you said that because since you said you loved Rob Zombie, and he's got a reputation as he pushes the boundaries for violence in his films.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love his films, like House of a Thousand Corpses. Like I remember I would go out on dates and I would like be like, let's watch this movie, and like my dates would be like, what the, like there's something wrong. Like they wouldn't call me back for a second date. They wouldn't call me back for a second. They were like, this is so weird.
Oh, so you're sitting over there you're watching Rob Zombie's Halloween. You're going like, hell yeah, make him pay,
Mhm.
and yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, string that guy up.
I know, and I would be
Um,
like, I don't understand why I'm single. Like I would think that you would think that it was cool. Like,
Yeah, you think of fine. Well, though, you know what it is though. Final girls. It's one thing they do. That's the reason why they're final, because the boyfriends never make the movie either. Um,
oh
they, you know,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, we always talk about the final girls, but to me, it's like, what about the final? What about the final guy? The boyfriend. Look at some of the ways he goes out. I mean,
Mm,
there's final guys. They die some hard deaths.
yeah. But I
Let's
mean,
see.
it's worth it.
Uh, um, so, what do you do to keep yourself? What do you do to keep yourself busy? I mean, as far as acting goes, do you go to classes? And do you go see plays? I mean, how do you keep your motor running in between projects?
Yeah, so I go to a lot of classes out here in Vancouver. When I was at training in England, I did a stunts and weapons class. So I'm trained in weapons as well. I love to, gonna be lame and be like, I like to walk my dog, but I like to walk my dog. And I like to, I loved watching plays. Like there's not a lot of local plays out in Vancouver, but when I was living in the UK, I love a good play. You know, being out here, I'm more surrounded by nature, but I think that that can also help you out a lot, is like being in peace and kind of getting your imagination and creative juices flowing, is like being in nature as well, and like blasting your music and like really like almost like, I don't know if anybody else does that, like just going on a walk and like listening to music and like thinking about scenes in their head. Like I definitely am one to do that.
Yeah, I walk around like that, and I try to think of questions to ask on the show. A good questions to ask the guests. Let me see. Go bounce back over here real quick. You guys are really active in the chat tonight. I appreciate that so much. Let's see. Talking about Mr. Dan had a great show yesterday on film noir. See, that's what I mean. See, we put you all in all black. You could be a femme fatale. Um, let's see. See, I can tell Alina really enjoys herself on set. That's awesome. Yep, I can imagine that. I can imagine that. Um, let's see. Let's see. They're talking about a different channel. Um, oh, Chan says I'd like to see Elena and Scout Taylor Compton in a movie together. Yes, yes, me too. Me too. That would be a good one. Scout is formidable. Um, let's see. Dan. Let's see. Talking about the channel. Let's see. Steven has another question for you. Have you heard the killer name? Oh, have you heard the killer named John Carver from Thanksgiving? Yeah, you mentioned Eli Roth, and as you know, he did Thanksgiving a year and a half ago. What attracts you to a director like that? And in general, what do you look for in a director as far as guiding a project? I mean, how can you tell if a director knows what he's doing or maybe not so much?
I mean, I feel I feel like if a direct I used to always be like, oh, the director is always going to tell you what to do and like how to act, but it's mostly like it's you. Like you have to make those choices in it. And if it's like, there's usually something, it's they don't really say anything about your acting. Like it'll be one or two tweaks here and there, but it's mostly like they hire you because they know that you can do the job. They like a micromanaging director isn't a good director. It's so I don't I haven't worked with a micromanaging like director yet. But what drew me to Eli Roth was yeah, just hostile and how young he was. And when it came out, I do feel that was like that was very new. Like that whole like what is it like torture porn type of stuff. Like that was like I do feel like he was the first one. Well, at least like growing up that I
Experience.
grew up watching. Oh, sorry.
No,
That
no,
is my studio calling me. Self tape, probably. Sorry about that.
it's okay. Do you need
um,
to? Okay. I was gonna say, do you
yeah.
need to take that? Do you need to take that for a minute?
No, I'll call them back later. It's the audition that I'm not supposed to talk to you guys about that I talked
Well, that's
about.
probably them right there
Are they
telling you,
calling me being like
yeah,
it's canceled?
that's what's happening now. They're calling you, going like, didn't you know? But didn't you know about Fight Club? Rule number one: don't talk about Fight Club. Uh, uh, yeah. I mean, torture porn. I mean, do you have an opinion about that? I mean, are like like what movies do you like watching, and what is too extreme for you, or do you or you have no limitations as far as what you watch?
I have no limitations. I'm quite like I'll watch whatever. Like I'll like even watch stuff that like people will like leave the room about like how like awful it is, and I'll just be sat there like I remember my mom, my poor mom. I remember I was watching the Green Inferno. It's about cannibalism, and she just like comes into my room, like I think she's bringing me tea or something, and she just sees me like this person being eaten, and she's like, "What is like? What did I create? Like, why are you watching this?" And then like the second of all, like it's her credit card that like I purchased it on too. So she's like, "Oh my god, like what creature
Were
like
you
is living
watching
in
were
my
you watching
house?"
this by yourself, or were you watching this by yourself or with some friends?
No, by myself.
Oh my god. It's you're gonna end up everybody's dream girl before too much longer. You're like the perfect core girlfriend. Holy gosh. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess my mom would. See, there's times where I walked out of the room. I'll admit it. I've had moments where I walked out of a room. Uh, uh, but that's fun. Now, what about I know you just barely getting started in your career, and what are some of the things that you've picked up since you first started? What are some of the things that you learned? Like we are, we can talk about this a little bit. I mentioned you meant, because it seems to be like I don't know what it is. It seems like once it gets spoken into the air, but then everybody's talking about it. And one of the things you mentioned before about when you're, like when you were talking about, people were cutthroating a little bit, is the social media aspect of things. What's your opinion about that? About people asking you, asking or casting social media stars instead of real actors. What do you feel about that? Do you feel like they're taking jobs away from you when the
Yeah.
casting director? Yeah.
I mean, to each that like I respect that this person has obviously worked hard and built their social media following, but then it's like what is us actors like going out and doing our degrees and doing these classes, like where does that leave us? Like you know what I mean? And it's like how can and then I don't know what to be then because I am so very much like inside of me is so actor driven and like film driven and theater driven that it's like I don't know like how I would then be like an Instagram like somebody that garners that like that viewership in that way and each like I respect that I respect everybody's hustle like they've obviously like made their page that way like they're creative in a different aspect but for me like I've always grown up very theater and film driven, and I've always listened to commentaries on like directors' commentaries and stuff like that. So I am very, very, very film based. So yeah, it is hard being thrown out in a world this like now being like, okay, like how many followers does she got? How like does she,
Right.
whereas before it was just more so like, um, and they see more people now too. Whereas before it was like it wasn't the self tapes; it was that you were in person. So now they see something like 100 actors in for like one role. Whereas before you would come in, you would work odd jobs here and there, and they would see maybe 8 people, and you would connect with a casting director because you would be in the room and they'd see, oh, this girl's on time, she's memorized her script. Like how, because now how do you know like with self-taping, like are they actually just having a teleprompter there, like are they actually going to come to set and be dressed and professional and know how to work with people, whereas like before that wasn't the case, you could really prove yourself and make a name for yourself and get seen by certain directors and casting directors, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. I mean, I'm not a fan of social media numbers being part of the process. I just feel it has nothing to do with it. I mean, that's like to me, it's like walking up to a casting director and asking them the same question: How many people are following you?
Hmm.
You're a casting director. How many? Well, probably not that many. Well, does that mean that you can't do your job any less than that person there? What
Hmm.
I have more followers. I'm not a casting director, but I have more followers than you. So
Hmm.
do I get your job because of that? I
Hmm.
mean, I'm with you about that. I don't like it at all. And and then I read today about I guess Natasha Lyonne is now doing a movie. She's going to direct her first movie, and it's going to be half and half. It's going to be half half practical, and it's going to be half AI. And I'm just looking at that
Hmm.
going like, why doing that? Why are we open Pandora's box? I mean,
Also,
you
why
open the
not just
box.
do the full fit? Do you know what I mean? Like you're like STEMmy with actors, but also like a. Do you know what I mean? Like just do one or the other. I don't.
Yeah, I don't get it because it's like, man, it's like you're doing this, you're using your name to make it happen. But I don't think the AI I don't think it's, I mean, sure, technically speaking, it's brilliant, but it's a horrible thing for an actor. It's so threatening. It's like, wow, you could actually get away with that. You could actually get away with that without, you could pay what half your crew. You could get rid of half your crew, and wow, instead of spending $2 million, I could make $1 million and shoot it with AI. Yeah, but
Hmm.
you just put other people out of business. That's
Hmm.
Hey Andre, how are you? How are you? Let's see. Yeah, the Tom's right. Instagram and influencers, it's a whole different animal. It really, really is. I just can't. It just, it just bothers the shit out of me, seeing that. And I just don't think it's just a good idea. I think it's, I'm going to do half and half. Why do it? You're only going to open up the Pandora's box. If you get away with it here, I'm not looking to take anybody's job, but that's what will happen. Whether you intend to or not, if you use AI, you know, and that's what's going to happen.
Why for art? Like, do you know what I mean? Out of all of the things that like we could be using it for, like,
Mhm.
you're just choosing to go for art. Like, do you know? It doesn't make sense. Like, because that's the
No,
one thing that I feel like is so human. Is like I don't know. I'm gonna go into like
no, no.
philosophical.
It's just a concern.
And people are gonna be like, is she taking some? Is
It's,
she on
it's,
the
it's,
YN tour?
I mean, pretty soon I'm going to watch a movie saying, is it live or is it AI? So what are the
Mhm.
things like I asked you earlier? I was like, what are some of the other things that you do for fun and hobbies? Like, what's your favorite food? What do you? What's if you have a day off and you could do anything, anywhere with anybody? What would you do? I mean, where would you go and what would you do?
I really like road trips. I like hiking. I love hiking. I love a good hike. I like to so I also like to go. I know this is weird, but When it's like really dark at night, like at night, I like to go and like go UAP hunting, so like UFO hunting. So like you just sit and like try to see if like you can see any of like the flying objects. I know it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. I love a good podcast. Um, but yeah, that's what I like to do, and horror films and films in general, not just horror films, but like I like to watch movies. I'm a big movie buff. I still go to the cinemas. Um, yeah, I want to watch The Sinners. I have yet to watch that. And then they have the Final Destination, the reboot coming out
Right, right.
in like a couple of weeks. So that's what I'm excited to
Yeah.
see.
There's the probably the best kill in the whole series is in Final Destination 3, and one of those actresses went on to become a big Hallmark director. Uh, uh, and a couple of really well-known horror directors, Fred Olen Ray and Jim Wynorski, they went over and directed Hallmark movies. Let's
Hmm.
see. Chance wants to say he wants to ask you a question. Elena, would you ever consider moving to Hollywood? Uh, is that the goal to do? Do people still have that as a goal as a working actor to go to Hollywood, or I mean, because you go to Great Britain, you go to Vancouver, you really are. I mean, what are you missing if you're not in Hollywood?
I mean, when I like I did when I was younger, like I got into UCLA, and it was kind of my dream to go out like and be in LA and like do it there. But I was just too young. Like I think now if I was able to get the opportunity to go out to LA, I would 100% do it. I would 100% take it and just go back and forth between Vancouver, LA, and the UK. I love America. I'm actually trying to get like work in the States more. I would love to like work in the States. I, yeah, that would be like my dream is to move to the States. Yeah, it's really hard to get a work permit though. So
Yeah,
fingers crossed if it comes through.
especially now since our president has declared war on anybody crossing our border, right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Uh, uh, what are some of your favorite what are some of your favorite movies that you've seen so far this year? I mean,
This year,
I
this
mean,
year, this year.
you got a few people here that want looking to go to a movie. What should we go watch?
Mm, one sec, one sec, one sec, one sec, one sec. Sorry. Sorry about that. I would say what movie did I really like watching? I really liked I'm like forgetting it now. Which one was the one where she oh my god, I've forgotten the name. But it was a body horror. Margaret Qualley's in it, and she
Oh, you're talking about Substance?
yeah, The Substance. Watch The Substance. I really like The
That
Substance.
was interesting. What did you? What I mean? Yeah, I mean, how would you have played that role differently from Margaret Qualley? Would you
I
would you
love
would you play how would you have played her role?
I think she did an amazing job. Like there's no I love Margaret Qualley. I think she's gorgeous. I think she's like a super I love her career. I love like she's just the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen in my life. But I think I would have played it maybe a bit more bitchier because I do feel like she was still quite nice, and it was like the end where she like totally flipped out. But I was like, she could have been a little bit meaner to her. Do you know what I mean? Like she was really sabotaging her. I was like, I feel like I would have been a bit more mean to
Yeah, yeah,
the person
that makes sense.
abusing me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what do you got coming up the rest of the 2025? I mean, what can we expect to see you next? Piglet is playing on Tubi, and I'll put everything go over to Tubi and take a look at that. Um, but what else are you doing this year? Are you going to any conventions? Are you guessing at any conventions? You got any new projects coming up? Um, as far as
Not that I know of yet, but I think it will be an exciting year, and I do think that I will be merging into more mainstream territory this year. Let's see. I've been put out for pretty big stuff here now, and I'm focusing on my auditions and making sure I bring my A game to the Vancouver scene. And yeah, so hopefully breaking into, I love indies, and I love low budget. I love getting to,
Me
because
too.
you get to bring so much of yourself to it, whereas I do imagine on a bigger budget, like very maybe, a set where there is a producer, like, and well, not that there's no producers, but like, where it is very scripted and you don't get to really have a say on it. I want to see what it's like to work on a set like that, and I think I fingers crossed that I will be merging into the mainstream this year. I think so.
I think so too. Why not? I mean, and you're pretty fearless too. That's for sure. That's one thing I think any director that would, or casting director that would get from watching this, is the fact that you're fearless. That mean that you'll do, you'll play any role. Uh,
Mhm.
um, as far, in a horror film, as long within reason. I mean, well, again, it's like once it gets spoken into the air, then we have to talk about it a little bit. But um, this seems like the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden, out of the blue, we're starting to see a lot of the horror actresses. They're starting to sort of revolt a little bit against gratuitous nudity. There's been a lot of girls out there sitting there saying that they don't want to do that shit anymore. That they've been all, every time that they get sent a script, there's always a news scene in there, and it doesn't do anything for the film. Um, what's your opinion about that? I mean, is that something that you already, it's an automatic no for you? Um, to in that regards.
The thing is like, I think that I am willing to do a lot, and I am quite on the shyer side of when it comes to stuff like that.
Sure.
But I it really does it, like, if like, the thing is like, I don't know, because it's like, do I like, what does it bring to the script and to the scene? Like, if it's something that's like very tasteful and like something that like it's part of the story and like carries significance and
Hard,
part
hard to do
artsy,
that.
then I
It,
would,
it,
be want to do it. But like, if it's just, like for the sake of it to get viewership, then what's the point? Like, you know what I mean? Like, people they have sites to go on to look at that. Why are we why are we like subjecting actors to that? But I'm not saying I wouldn't, it's out of the realm of things that I would do.
uh, Film director Michael Menard just walked in through the door. He's a terrific director based in Iowa. Getting ready for his new movie coming out pretty soon. Says, "Hello, everybody. I do love a good fearless actor." Well, I can tell you right now that Elena would be a fine matchup with Jeeves. They could be a killer combo assassin duo. Uh, uh, no, Michael is a fine director, and his new movie's coming out really soon. Um, yeah, I like that too. It's funny though. You mentioned about how, and to me, this is the truth. You mentioned how it had to be important for the movie, and you have to mean something. I love horror movies as well as anybody, but I got to tell you, I've never seen a horror movie where it's like, I've never seen a horror movie where that has actually been important. A nude scene has never been important. It's never been, oh wow, if they didn't have that in there, this movie would have sucked.
Mm,
I've never seen that in horror at all. Something like a Postman Ring Twice, that sort of thing. A movie like that, like a film noir, where it does fit the story. And there's depth in it. It's not based on just that one scene. I dig that. I can handle that. But horror goes, I just I just can't. I can understand the lady sitting there saying, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't. It's like, why are you asking me? And to me, it's a really good question. It's like, why do you need to do it? Why do you need to do that? I mean, it's like a horror movie has this place. It's for fun, entertainment, but it's especially low budget horror films. They're not winning the Oscars. And they're not going to do that. They're just there for fun. We want to see blood. Uh,
Exactly.
says one of my Tom says oh yeah, we talked about that, Larry. Larry just said I can see Elena being a vampire. Yeah, we said that. We said she looked great as Barbara Steele or Ingrid Pitt. Um, yeah, I will say this: you could definitely do a Hammer movie. Yes, you could. See, Tom Baker, one of my favorite YouTube channels and host, is from Vancouver, and she works as a production designer and has guests on, great guests too. All right, all right. It's always good to have more interviewers out there. Let's see. We'll see if I can't wait for Webster County. It's going to be dropping. I think it's going to be dropping this summer. It's gonna be an ass kicker. That's for sure. All right. Do you have any other questions for our guests? Feel free to drop some questions for our guest, Elena. And you guys have been really kick ass tonight. This has been a long time since we had a chat like this. So I really do appreciate it. Um, Her shy look would be how she suckered in her victims. Yep. Yep. That's a really I like that. I like that kind of character. I mean, you always think of them being bold and brassy, but there's something to be said about it's the least likely person it's the last person you would expect is the person you should fear the most.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, mhm. All right. Uh, did Piglet get you mentioned about theatrical release? Did Piglet at least get a theatrical release in Great Britain? Did they
No,
release it over
no.
there? No.
No, so it is quite a sad thing. So we got more money from the distributors to go back and do reshoots. So that's when I got to do the second killing. And yeah, it was 3 days of reshoots. We got to do a car bomb going off and all this stuff like that. And we had buyers internationally. But I think unfortunately it just never ended up going to cinemas. But we did have, I'm not sure what happened because they never tell actors anything. They're like, it's going to cinemas. And then you have to like prod people and be like, come on, tell me, please, what happened? And then they're like, yeah, like, the sales pitch didn't work or like this fell through. And, so sadly, it didn't get the theatrical release it was set to. So that is quite unfortunate, but that's all right. I will be in theaters doing something else
Yeah.
surely soon.
Soon,
Maybe
soon,
manifest.
soon. All right, boys and girls, we have hit the button. I want to go ahead and thank our guest Elena for coming in there and hanging out with us. I want to thank you, the chat, coming in here and kicking ass, and I appreciate it so much. And thank you for all the great questions. Tomorrow night we'll be here at 8:30 tomorrow. 8:30, as we are welcoming in country singer Brian Elder. He'll be here tomorrow night. Brian Elder, country singer, and he's been known to strap on a six shooter and ride up on the horse. So we have him tomorrow night. Um, and then next week we have the Gross Brothers will be back, Tom and Tim, and then we have the mighty Robert Lasardo will be here, and that will be an interesting interview. I'm really looking forward to talking to Robert Lasardo. He is a interesting and deep guy. He's going to be it's gonna be a corker. Definitely been one of my Grail guests I've been hoping to get, and we finally got him, and I can't wait to chew the fat with him. Elena, thank you so much too. This has been wonderful. We're gonna stay in touch with each other. I want to thank Alex for putting us together. Alex, the big man, putting us together. I appreciate it so much. Um, and maybe next time, somehow, some way, Piglet revives himself and you guys both are in the sequel, we'll have you both come on here and talk about it. All right, that is it for us. Stay right where you're at, Elena, and to the chat, we're going to go ahead and leave you guys here. And thank you so much again, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Peace. Ah, come on. There we go.